an associate professor of law in the School of Law of the American University here in Yola, Northeast Nigeria. In continuation of my law lecture series, today we shall start with Law of Banking, which is a 300 level course in most universities, especially here in the American University in Yola. The code name for the course is Law 311. It may have a different law code in different universities, but here in American University, it is Law 311. Now, today's introductory lecture on banking law will look at the general framework of banking law, or banking as it were in general, and then we look at the legal framework of banking. Now, banking is an essential aspect of the global economy, as it provides the necessary financial services required for economic growth and development. The law of banking therefore governs the legal relationship between banks and their customers, as well as the legal framework within which banks operate. I repeat, the law of banking governs the legal relationship. Mind you, I say legal relationship between banks and their customers, as well as the legal framework within which banks operate. Let us first look at the legal framework. In Nigeria, the law of banking is primarily governed by the Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act 1991, which we say BOFIA for short. This regulates the establishment, licensing, and operation of banks and other financial institutions in Nigeria. The Central Bank of Nigeria Act, that's 2007, also provides for the regulation and supervision of banks and other financial institutions by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN for short. In addition to these laws, other statutes and regulations also govern banking transactions. These include 1, the Companies and Allied Matters Act, CAMA for short, the Foreign Exchange, that's Monitoring and Miscellaneous Provisions Act, the Money Laundering Prohibition Act, and the Economic and Financial Crimes Establishment Act. Now, these are the legal framework. Now, let us look at the regulatory bodies that have supervisory function on banks in Nigeria. Now, these regulatory bodies are responsible for overseeing and regulating the Nigerian banking industry, and they include the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC for short, and the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC for short. The CBN is the principal regulator of the banks and other financial institutions in Nigeria, while the NDIC provides insurance cover for depositors in the event of bank failure, while the SEC regulates the securities market in Nigeria. Now, let us look at, because as we've said, we're looking at the legal framework for banking, the legal relationship of the banks with their customers. So let us look at the legal issues surrounding banking transactions, still as a way of introductory remarks in respect to banking law in Nigeria. Now, several legal issues arise in banking transactions. This includes deposit and withdrawal of funds, loans and credit facilities, electronic banking. All these issues are having some legal implications in the banking industry. For instance, when we talk about deposit and withdrawal of funds, the law governs the rights and obligations of banks and their customers in relation to deposits and withdrawal of funds. The bank is required to keep the deposited funds safe and secure, while the customer has the right to access their funds at any time. On the loans and credit facilities, the law also governs the terms and conditions of loans and credit facilities provided by banks to their customers. Here I'm talking about the interest rate that banks should charge a customer when he comes to access some of these loans and credit facilities. When we talk about the electronic banking, on the other hand, with the advent of technology, electronic banking has become a popular means of conducting banking transactions. The law governs the use of electronic banking, including issues relating to online fraud, data protection, and privacy. So these are all legal issues that surround banking transactions in Nigeria. So to conclude on the introductory aspect of this lecture, the Nigerian law of banking is an essential aspect of the country's legal framework. It regulates the relationship between banks and their customers, as well as the legal framework within which banks operate. It is important for individuals and businesses to understand the legal issues surrounding banking transactions to ensure that their rights are protected. Now, the next topic we're going to look at is the definition of law of banking. How do we define law of banking within the framework of banking law in Nigeria, or within the framework of the law